Alright, brothers, it's a new day. You guys can see there. I've been driving for 52 minutes. I'm gonna put fuel in the tank. We have about 1,715 miles to go. Thinking we're gonna drop on Monday. And then after we drop on Monday, I can go meet the customer, go check out some truck. I'm gonna put some fuel in the tank. Should have done a better pre-trip this morning. I basically just said, hey, there's no puddles under the truck. Let's go. All right, so those of you who didn't see the last video, here it is, tiny house. GVWR doesn't exist because it's a fucking house, all right? So my GVWR on the truck is 9K plus this thing that also has no GVWR. Somehow the tires are still good. My tires are still good. I love TPMS because I don't have to fucking worry about that shit. But we're moving, we're getting shit done. Timbrins are putting in some fucking work. Surprised they haven't fallen off yet with the way that I have the one on the passenger side mounted. Nothing got stolen overnight. Bertha looks like she's squatting like a whore. She's not supposed to squat, but whatever. Guys, Bertha just fucking does everything. This truck is literally my financial freedom. And it's only gonna be better when we do the mega cab setup, but basically driving out there to meet someone to check out their truck, doing a 12-valve swap, and kind of had an excuse to grab something. So while I'm out here, I am going to try to make as much money as possible. There were a few loads going from Oregon to California. I do have one of them booked just because, like, I'm already out here. I want to come back with like 15 grand. So if I can do that, I'd be happy. And then I'll be home, and you know, that'll definitely help set up a lot of the stuff that I want to do on here. But at the same time, that same broker posted that trailer 4 times. So there's 4 of them. There's 4 of them. I can take one a day extra. So it's like, I'm gonna grab one on Tuesday, drop it Wednesday, grab on Wednesday, drop on Thursday, and so on and so forth. And then start making our way back. This trip could be a $15,000, $20,000 trip in a good amount of time. So it's literally just drive. That's all it is. All right, guys, ignore my time zones and whatnot, but I found the oldest Loves. You guys might know where this one's at. Oldest looking Loves I've seen in a while. So we're getting the fuel tank full. This is, I think, my second fill up on this tank. Could be third. No, this is definitely my second one because I think I'm at like 300 miles. We're playing a very dangerous game right now. The fuel light's on. I have fuel in the aux tank, but we're like 3 miles from the pilot. And then filling twice, I figure let's just see if we make it. If we don't, whatever, I'll fill it up. I don't want to clog the fuel filter, but I've been driving for about 220 minutes. We got about 538 on this tank. I could probably throw another 100, you know, throw the rest of the aux tank in and get another 100 miles, but you know, we'll see what this fill-up's been. I think the first one was like 455 and the second one was like 355. Well, we did make it. I'm gonna shut her down and fill her up, and I'll let you guys know what we got. We have, oh, that was to the other fuel station. Get rid of that. I would never have made it to that one. We have 20 hour, good fuck. I hate these trips. I hate it. Still looks good. Tires are good, no bearing issues. That's why I like new trailers. Fucking none of that bullshit where the tires are blowing out, none of that. Everything inside looks good. Fuel here's a little expensive. It's like $4.25, but it is what it is. Not super worried about it. 541. We got like 5.7 miles a gallon. So for you guys saying I should ride third gear instead of overdrive while towing, fuck off. That's a, what is that, a 1.7 mile difference. I was getting 7 miles a gallon in overdrive. Transmission stays cool in overdrive, no issues. Stock cooler, no heat exchanger. Full send diesel transmission lines. Let's see where we're sitting at right now. Just coming into the parking lot would have heated it up, and we are at, come on, 136 degrees, 135. So running down the highway, we're probably chilling around $120. Bertha loves, by the way, that's tow haul mode. Bertha loves chugging along at like 1600, 1700 RPMs. That's one thing I like about the factory turbo. Now we're gonna go downhill, so it's gonna accelerate, but we've been keeping it around 60, 65. I'm just gonna run overdrive the whole way there because, like, really, I'd rather get 7 miles a gallon than 5. And you guys can see the trans temp is 142 degrees. It's gonna come down a lot while we're cruising, especially if I keep it in overdrive. Gonna stop here at Love's, do a refuel. We're about 138 on the trans temp. We were chilling around 120 the whole trip. So we're doing good. Bertha has always had like a weird coolant smell to it, but never doesn't lose coolant. We're sitting at about 203 right now when we take the ramp. She cools down. Cruising in overdrive, chills around 195 to 200, chilling in, you know, third gear locked. You know, she likes to creep up there, 225, 230 sometimes. I don't know, it's been the whole trip, but going through giving Bertha the old once over, and it looks like we blew the turbo gasket as well by a lot. Oh, we've blown, oh wow. We blew that one. That one. Well, time for a second gen swap. Take care of that when we get home. I smell coolant, but the thing's full. Oh yeah, it's nice and black back there. Other than that, everything else seems to check out all right. Definitely blew that gasket at the back. Yeah, I can really smell it here, but I don't see anything. Unless, no, it's not that. Fucking, I don't know. I'm gonna just keep chugging along. I was gonna get exhaust manifold gaskets tomorrow, but like, I'm not looking to do a turbo gasket. I'm gonna run these loads and just second gen swap when we get back. Hopefully she makes it, but I don't see any oil or coolant anywhere, and she's full. Oh yeah, them Timbrins are screaming for their life. All right, so real quick, I could go ahead and fix Bertha's gasket, but unfortunately, I have been on a kick of fixing everything as correctly as I possibly can, and it would not make sense to me to go and throw new gaskets on the truck, even though, I mean, it wouldn't take me long to do it. But the big issue is it's not going to be correct. The gasket should be realistically trued. You know, it's probably warped. So for me to throw a new gasket on it and loosen the bolts up and retighten them and this and that, it'll probably just blow again. So we got a manifold back at the house that is a second gen style. I have a downpipe on order and a inlet tube, so we can basically second gen swap the factory turbo on Bertha. All right, so I've changed my mind because like dropping down to 37 miles an hour at times is annoying. I'll hit a hill, I can go down the hill, I'll get her up to 60, 65-ish, but that ticking is just, I'm just gonna do it. I'm gonna go buy the parts. AutoZone's like 5 hours away. I'm gonna do it in Billings, Montana, in the middle of fucking nowhere. All right, so I'm a couple miles from the AutoZone, so there's no way around it. We're gonna have to get this done. No power, it's blowing out, and I think that's why I've been smelling coolant for the longest time. That gasket has probably been blown for a long time, but this trip probably, you know, sealed the deal. I've always heard like a faint ticking, but I've never been able to, like, there was no black, so I never thought anything of it. I did check before to see if the gaskets were blown. It ran great till about halfway here, so we're just gonna do that. I've still been able to cruise like 50 to 60 miles an hour, but it did throw in limp mode earlier. We're definitely blowing a little bit of soot, a lot of soot. It is on a stock tube, but everything is going pretty well. No tires blowing out. Everything on the inside's good. There's a fire extinguisher in there. I'm surprised Bertha hasn't caught on fire yet, to be honest, because of that manifold leak. I had a customer before have that happen to him, but we're definitely blowing some soot. I have decided that we are gonna keep the axle dump, because if I'm gonna do stuff like this and tow, that axle dump keeps the soot off the trailers, whereas if I run it out the side, it blows soot down the side, and a stack will blow soot over the top. All right, we went and got all the gaskets. You guys can see down there. The whole firewall is black, that coolant line behind there. I'm wondering if this wasn't my issue the whole time with why the truck gets hot. I'm thinking maybe it was leaking back there and I just didn't realize it, and there you go. But number 6 is blown, 5, 4, 3 is blown. I don't think the first 2 are. Actually, number 2 looks blown as well, and actually, yep, I see it. All right, they're all blown, so let's get this intake off. I don't know how we even made this trip with having any power, because the boot was blown as well. So I'm gonna get these off here, get the downpipe flange. I'm just gonna pull this whole thing off as one assembly, and then we'll break those bolts loose when we get there. Oh. That sucks. I might actually have to fucking weld the turbo. Alright, so I got everything off. We just need to pull the turbo. This took me like 10, 15-ish minutes. So I think what we're gonna do is I'm gonna go in and try to see if they have a spare one of these. And I'm gonna try to figure this out. I might be able to use the welder to pull that bolt back out, but hopefully, well, it looks like it broke at the thread, so I don't know what I'm gonna do yet. All right, so it's worse than I thought. There's a gap there. Bottom broke too. So this just goes to show you, be careful who you let work on your shit. This is the only thing on this truck that I haven't touched yet. And yeah, she blew. Somebody not putting the bolts in properly, and also probably not. This is probably not true. So we'll get that all cleaned up. All I can really do is throw it back together. If I can't get parts locally, I might have to weld it. Between, oh shit. Oh, come on. That's crazy. All right, can confirm the previous owner is, or whoever he had work on this, is an absolute retard. I see the problem. I would have never found that. Looks like he snapped it before, reused the manifold, and just slapped it back together. So that explains why this failed. Chances are good I'm probably gonna end up having to weld this fucker and just getting a new exhaust housing when I get home. I'll just take the center section out when we do the second gen swap. That might be what we have to do. Yeah, I've kind of decided on it. We're fucked from the get-go. There is nothing that I can do to fix this properly with what I have. This, whoever did that, drilled that out. And then that one snapped because of it. So what I'm gonna end up doing is I'm gonna clean all this up, get a new gasket on there, and then clean the surface, weld it, and get ready for welding and whatnot. And I'm just gonna get a new exhaust housing. I've made my mind up. So thank goodness I have the welder on me, but I'm still gonna see if they have this clamp in there. But all right, so for the stupid fucks in my comments, keep in mind, this is a repair to get me home and get the job done. This is not a permanent repair. There is a difference. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put the 2 bolts that I have, tighten this thing up, and then we have this guy here. I'm gonna grind the whole way out and around and just weld this fucker solid. That's all I'm gonna do. I've cleaned up the surfaces. I'm gonna clean up the surfaces on there, slap this back together, and forget about it until I get home, and then start ordering everything for the second gen swap. All right, we got 2 options. I don't want to hit it with a fuckload of heat. So we have 1/8 inch 6010, or I think 3/16 7018. I might go the 7018 route. We'll see. I'm gonna get this thrown back together and weld it. They don't have this. They said go down to CarQuest, so I'm gonna go down there. All right, here's where we're at. Got it nice and in there. Sucks, I can still see a little bit of a gap, but best I'm gonna be able to do, I'm gonna clean this whole center section out with a grinding disc and start laying some passes. All right, we're gonna start it off with 6010 just to get all because this isn't perfect, and then we'll probably cap it with 7018. I'm gonna get the sides after I get both sides welded, and then we'll come to the sides and clean that up. All right, needless to say, this fucker's never getting cut off. And I think for the job that I did, here, let me clean that up a little bit. For what I have been handed, I don't think I did a bad job. See what I mean? She's laid pretty good. A little bit of crackage there, but we'll monitor it. Obviously, this is cast iron, so it's kind of a pain in the dick to weld. But for what it is, I laid down some 60-10 and then threw some 70-18 over top, and I don't think I did a bad job. I do see the little bit of crackage there. I might grind that, check it out, but besides that, I mean, I think we're all right. All right, so I completely forgot. I had to pull this whole thing back off again. You have to plug weld these holes. This one here and the other side of that one, because if you don't, what ends up happening is exhaust gases, that gasket blows. So I'm gonna fill that up with some 70-18 real quick. All right, now she's all plugged. Accidentally did a little tug right there. I'm gonna clean that up real quick. Both sides are all plugged. Keep in mind, it's cast iron. If you don't like it, fuck off. All right, so everything is done and complete. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna go over everything, but I wanna give it a good test start. Make sure we're not leaking out of the oil drain. They didn't have one. And some people should just not be working on vehicles, because like, here's the grid heater wire right there. And yeah, it's well, broken. I don't see any leaks. I'm gonna keep an eye on it, but oh, motorcycle. Put my hand down there and around it. I don't feel any leaks. As I clean up, I think about it more and more, and I'm like, the previous owner of this thing really did fuck me over, because I went and bought it sight unseen, and the guy was really easy to deal with. And then when I drove it home, I realized why he was so easy to deal with. The injectors, when you rev it up, it would like come down really, really fucking obnoxious. Two, the torque converter slipping, it never locked up. So it needed a trans, it needed injectors, and now here I go and I find that. And there's been a couple other things here and there. I've tried to keep my peace, because I'm like, you know, dude was cool. Well, I realized why he was cool. Dude was a piece of shit. So, and he knew exactly what he was doing as well, because I asked the dude, I said, hey, what's all wrong with it? Which if he would have told me from the get-go, I'd be like, all right, whatever, I need a truck, you're easy to deal with. I'd have still bought it. But it would have been nice to know before I spent all the money that I spent on it. So the second I fired it up, the check engine light came on for the underboost. And it's funny, basically it throws it in limp mode. It's funny how I now have more power in limp mode than I did before. But yeah, there's no click, 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 click. Like, that's nice. I just need to find a place. Once I hit a red light long enough, I'm just gonna clear it. I thought it was for the grid heater because I didn't put the wire back on. I'm not gonna do that until later, because I'm not in the mood right now. Well, it was fun while it lasted. It blew the boot. If you guys can hear that. It had so much power there for about 10 minutes. About 5 minutes, but oh, we blew the boot.